The AMP63 came out, I grinded it out, got all the attachments for it, and now here's your gun guide on the same day. Just a reminder, I'll be giving you the full stats including mobility, recoil, and damage, but with all the attachments we would normally use. The build I chose has the agency suppressor, the 7.2-inch reinforced heavy instead of the task force because it was too much recoil for me to handle, the steady aim laser instead of the tiger team just to increase our hipfire a little bit, the microflex LED, and the salvo 23 round fast mag. So let's get straight into the stats, starting with mobility. Its ADS speed is pretty good at 165 milliseconds. Its reload and add times are extremely good, but I would always reload with at least one bullet left in the mag. Its mag cap though is 23, which isn't great, and on average, you'll probably be able to only take out 1 or 2 people. Its movement and sprint speeds are pretty great. You'll be moving pretty fast, and you'll be moving faster than most other Cold War weapons, except for the pistols. Those other pistols will still beat this one. Its ADS strafe speed isn't the greatest, but it's on par with the Psychop, which is kind of concerning because the Psychop can carry 80 bullets in the magazine, not 23. And its sprint out and tac sprint out times are extremely great, which is why we spent 1 attachment on hipfire. Its stability is not the greatest at 2.5T, but it works for its intended role, and its velocity may seem pretty low, but this is actually on the higher side compared to some other pistols. Lastly, its rate of fire is 10.89 rounds per second, or 653.5 rounds per minute, which isn't the greatest for a full auto weapon, especially when supposed to be used at close range. When we add up the mobility points, we get a final score of 36. Its recoil is pretty interesting. It is mostly straight up with some random deviation to the left at the beginning, but it is controllable for the most part, so it gets a recoil score of 18. Its damage though isn't the greatest. I found 2 drop-off points, so the first one being at 14 meters and the second being at 20 meters. In its first damage range, it deals 42 damage to the head, 36 to the upper torso, and 30 to the lower torso and limbs. This means, unless you're getting headshots and upper torso shots, your time to kill won't be that great. So in order to remain in a competitive time to kill, you'll definitely need to be getting upper torso shots and some headshots in the mix. From 14 to 20 meters, it's not really that great, especially because the bullet velocity starts to take effect and you're still in the primary damage range of most other weapons. And after 20 meters, it's okay, but your bullet velocity is going to really prevent you from using it. And because of its recoil, don't even attempt to use it past 30 meters. And because it has such a low rate of fire and a small magazine, every shot you miss will hurt you drastically, especially up close. When we add up all the damage scores, we get a total of 28.22. And we add up all the scores, we get a final score of 82.22. This score is comparable to many other pistols, but just a reminder, when the Psychop came out, it had a score of 105.44. And from my testing, this or a very similar build would be pretty much the only way to run this successfully. Using any other type of build, including a dual wielded build, would result in a much lower score. So how do you use the AMP63? Well, you basically use it as a sidearm. You would pull it out whenever someone gets close to you or whenever you're trying to sweep a building, assuming your other weapon is a long-range assault rifle or a sniper rifle, but you'd probably end up swapping it for something better. Sure, you'll be able to stretch its range longer than something like the Psychop, but at least with the Psychop, you can use that comfortably as an SMG in most situations. The AMP63 suffers from the same problem that many high damage, low fire rate weapons have. They just don't have enough damage to back up all the other stats. Sure, it has mobility going for it, but even then, running any other pistol would give you more. And especially with this mobility, and for a Cold War weapon, I would expect its magazine size to be much larger. So compared to a Psychop, this is just not worth it. I know I won't be swapping my Psychop for one of these, which is really disappointing because I wanted this weapon to be pretty good. It looks cool and it was fun at first, but even when I unlocked all the attachments, I felt like I was missing something. With the Psychop, I can take on a team by myself if I clear them one by one, and I can do it without reloading. But with this, I need to reload basically after every kill. If it were up to me to buff it, I would make its recoil a lot more manageable, and I would give it a larger magazine size. At least this way, it would be more viable at medium ranges. I would also remove the last damage range and keep it just from 0 to 14 meters and then 14 to infinity. So if you're thinking about grinding out this amp and trying to get it as quickly as possible, don't worry about it. Take your time because yeah, it's a cool gun, but it's just not worth it right now. And if you haven't used the Psychov yet, try that, because even after its nerfs, I still think it's the best item we have. But that's the AMP. Despite everything I said, do you still want to run it and unlock it and check it out for yourself? Let me know in the comments. But that's the video. If you enjoyed it or if it's helped you in any way, leave a like. If you got any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section down below. And if you want to make sure that you never miss another video, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.